Okay, so we're going to do a taste test today on this pepper, and this is the Texas McMahon's Bird's pepper, and it's a hybridized version. So let's take a closer look at this pepper. And originally this pepper was growing as a Texas McMahon's pepper, which is basically a wild bird pepper. The thing about these wild peppers, these bird peppers, is they'll pretty much cross with almost anything, almost like not even trying to make them cross. They just cross very easily. But the Texas McMahon bird pepper in general is a very small little type of bird pepper, and it's a very hot pepper, but it's very, very small. As you can see, it's not coming out like a small little bird pepper anymore. It's coming out a little longer. It almost looks like it crossed with a Sereno, which I was growing Serenos next to that pepper last year. This plant you see growing right here absolutely came from a Texas McMahon Bird's peppers pepper, because I had the peppers left over sitting on top of my table here, and I took one of those peppers and I broke it up to get the seeds out, and this is what ended up coming out of that one pepper. And there's a couple plants growing in there, and they're all kind of doing the same thing. So that whole pepper that I broke up and got the seeds sprouted out of it all pretty much did the same thing. So as far as I could tell right now, it's a variant, or it's a hybridized Texas McMahon bird pepper, and I can't really name it or say anything else about it other than that's what it is. So we'll look at the plant profile a little bit. As you can see, the stem is generally green. You got purpling at the nodes. The stem is smooth but has a little bit of hair on it, so it's kind of hairy a little bit. This plant really wanted to take off big this year. I haven't watered it as much as I probably should have. I've been skipping a lot because I'm busy with other things. But this plant is generally a regular leaf plant. As far as I remember, a lot of the leaves are falling off. The temperatures are getting really cool at night, so it's really dropping its leaves. It's basically a regular standard leaf type pepper plant. And like I say, the height of this thing could probably get pretty big. I don't know at this point. This would be considered an F1, really, at this point. I can't say really anything else about it. I mean, I'll try growing it again next year. It should come out the same way. Like I say, these bird peppers, they cross very easily, and it's very hard to maintain a true breed of pepper unless you grow it completely by itself. So I'm not sure what else really to say about it other than it's basically an F1 and it's a cross from last year. So let's pick one of these and take a closer look at the pepper. You can see my cucumber vines growing up and around that, but we're almost at the complete end right now. I'll attempt to bring most, if not all of these into my garage, but that could take me, several days to actually do that, because it's a long way up and I don't really have a way to transport them. But here's a closer look at this pepper. It almost looks like a Tabasco pepper, but it's not a Tabasco, and I know it's not a Tabasco because Tabascos are a little more pointy than that in general, but I won't really know until I taste it, because I know the flavor of a Tabasco pepper, so I won't really know that yet. But you see how the pepper separated from the stem very easily like that? That's a very unique characteristic to Tabasco peppers. Do that. They're known to separate very easy and come off like that, and are very soft and watery on the inside. That's why Tabasco peppers make such an excellent sauce, because they're very watery, almost like a tomato. So this is kind of starting to go in that area. I can't say it's definitely a Tabasco pepper, because I grew this pepper from the Texas McMahon Bird's pepper from last year. But you could see that it definitely looks close to a Tabasco. Now, like I said, the only thing I know that was growing close to it was serrano peppers, and it could have crossed over with a serrano, and this might just be an elongated version of that little tiny bird pepper. So, but as you can see, it's separated from the stem very easily. That's very specific to the Tabasco pepper, does that. Once the Tabasco peppers get red and ripe like that, you don't even need to pick them per se. You just put a bag underneath the plant and they're all red. Just shake it really good and these will all come out just like that. You don't need to destem them or anything. You could just make your Tabasco sauce. I'll do videos in the future. Next year I'll grow some Tabasco peppers. I'll show you how I make Tabasco sauce. You can ferment it or you could just blend it and just, you know, eat it basic. You don't need to necessarily ferment them. Some people like to, and it does have a different flavor, but I'll do that in the future. I don't want to digress. So let's take a closer look at this and do a taste test. All right, so as we're walking through the greenhouse and just kind of checking things out and getting ready to eat this thing. Now, I'm under the impression that this is very hot because it looks to me like a Tabasco pepper, and Tabasco peppers are very, very hot. Eating Tabasco peppers raw for me just do not get along very well. So I figure we'll do a taste test on this. If it's too strong, I'm just going to spit it out. I was mentioning earlier in the video that this pepper was originally a Texas Mayhan bird's pepper, which is a very small little bead pepper. But somewhere along the line, it must have crossed over. The seeds definitely came out of one of those little bird peppers. What came out of it was this, and this kind of looks like a Tabasco pepper, but not quite. Tabasco peppers are very unique in their shape. This is kind of like round on the bottom, and it gets very pointy at the top, and it seems like they're all doing the same thing. Some of these are much bigger than what a Tabasco pepper would ever get. Tabasco peppers usually only get about this size. I just picked this one. But they are all generally the same size. They don't usually get too much bigger. Sometimes they're a little smaller, but once they get to a certain size, they pretty much stay that way. This is definitely something crossed over. So we're going to taste test it, see what it tastes like. I'll try and describe the flavor. We'll grow it out for the next couple of years, see if we can maintain that, or will it go back to the original bird pepper shape? I don't know. But usually with these bird peppers, when they do cross, they don't usually want to revert back. So whatever it crosses over with, it kind of stays that way. At least that's my experience. I mean, I've done it a few times, and they pretty much stayed. But let's give it a go. It's got a very nice flavor. It's hard on the stomach, though. It makes you want to hiccup right away. I might hiccup. The heat is very striking. It makes you salivate a lot. The heat is attacking the tongue from the tip all the way back to the back of the throat. A little bit of a burn on the back of the throat. My eyes are starting to get a little watery. When I ate the pepper, man, this thing's getting hot. This thing is building. Feeling it in my stomach. A little bit of a gut cramp. Very, very hot. Wow, this thing's strong. This is very strong. I was not expecting it to be that hot. It's very hot. When it went down in my stomach, it feels like there's a rock sitting in there right now. I'm not going to puke, but it's hot. This is as hot as a Tabasco pepper. Very similar heat-wise. The heat wasn't overwhelming at first, but it was striking. Immediately, as soon as you eat that thing, the insides were all soft. Immediately, the heat came out of it. So it was like biting into something where the whole insides came out. You got that sensation. I spit the skin out, but the insides were all seeds and mush. It was just like a Tabasco pepper, except it's not a Tabasco. It didn't taste like a Tabasco pepper. It had a nice flavor to it. I guess some people would call that smoky flavor. It had a nice smoky flavor to it. A little bit of sweetness on it. But man, that heat that came out of that thing, it was a direct fire, is what it was like. And it's in my stomach right now. My stomach is cramped up from it. That, believe it or not, that actually cramped the hell out of my stomach a lot. I just ate a tomato or two to settle that feeling down. I don't normally get cramps like that easily with these small peppers, but man, that small little pepper hit the stomach hard. Very, very hard. Scoville-wise, I'm going to probably put this thing around 10 or 12,000, maybe even higher. I'm definitely going to say because I can't really judge the Scoville, but it was up there. It was definitely between 10 and 20,000. Once you get that in your mouth and you swallow it, that pain you get in your stomach, you can't mistake that for anything. That's 10 to 20,000 on a Scoville for me. When I get that not feeling in my stomach and I'm like ready to hiccup, and once you start hiccuping, when you get that feeling and you're being kind of bothered by that feeling of heat cupping and everything, that's when you can vomit, because you start, and next thing you know, you puke. So for me to get to that point, it has to be really, really hot. We're not talking Reaper heat here. We're talking, regular peppers. But some peppers cause that effect more than others. And this is one that when it went down, it was like, my body was just like, uh-oh. Wasn't feeling that too well. It hits it hard. Now, if you eat it with food, you're fine. You could dry these out, would make it nice. They're wet, so you're really going to have to dry them in the hot, burning hot sun, or put them in a dehydrator. I don't recommend just like sitting them in your house on your countertop. No way. There's too much moisture. This moisture has to be evacuated. It has to be dried out of that pepper fast, or else it's going to get moldy. I had some mold already on my peppers, but this thing, man, this was incredibly hot. I'm going to equivalent it to a Tabasco pepper. It even looked like a Tabasco pepper to me, but I try not to do that because I don't want to preset myself to, like, what is it going to taste like and everything. I try to give you a view from, like, a totally spontaneous view. And that's probably what you would experience if you ate that thing yourself. But let me tell you something. That was very, very hot. Now, you can't buy seeds for this, so I can't really recommend seeds. But I'll include links below in the description for Tabasco peppers and stuff, because that is kind of what it was like. It did kind of maybe taste a little like a Tabasco pepper, but it had its own kind of flavor. Tabasco's got a very unique flavor. But this was kind of like its own thing. It wasn't fruity per se, though it was sweet. It did have a little bit of a sweetness to it, but it wasn't fruity like habanero fruity, that kind of thing. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of its own thing. But man, the way it hit my stomach, wow. I could usually eat these bird peppers and not usually have a problem with them, but this one, it hit my stomach pretty hard. Like I said, Tabasco peppers do the same thing if I eat them raw. If you make Tabasco into a sauce, or you blend it, and it's fermenting for a day or two, when that cools, that sauce will cool down. It's not going to be the original heat of the Tabasco. So it's the same thing with all these peppers. When you make sauce with them, or you cook with them, it brings the heat down, especially after about a day or two. Not a lot, but when you eat them straight, fresh like that, man, you're getting a full deal there. So I don't know what else to say about it. Heat, like I said, hit the tip of the tongue. It's pretty even all the way back. The heat came down. You see, I got a tomato in here because I need to eat this thing to settle my stomach a little. And that belch is that's good. That means you're past the puke point, If you don't belch when you go through that whole thing, that's not good. You're going to probably vomit, or you're going to have a really bad reaction the other way out. So it's good that you belch. That means your body settled down. It got used to it. You're all right. But yeah, I'm going to rate this pepper as far as heat-wise between 10 and 20,000, easy. It could even be hotter than that. It was just the way it hit me. Everything's seared in my mouth as far as taste buds and all that go. That's all seared. So I'm not going to be able to taste nothing now for the next 10 to 20 minutes, maybe longer. But yeah, in the future, I'll offer seeds if I can grow this out for a couple years. I'll offer you seeds for this. And I'll build a website and make them available. I'll give it some kind of a name. I don't know what to name it. We'll see how this pepper grows for now, for the next couple years. And if it continues to grow the same way, yeah, I'll offer you seeds for it. But anyway, that's your review for this Texas Mayhan Birds Hybrid Pepper. And if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.